There are only 6 Qantas 717s left, and all are due to go by October this year. So today I'm taking a flight on board a QantasLink Boeing 717 from Canberra to Melbourne in economy class as a farewell trip, and also to snag a seat on board one before the lights eventually go out for this legendary aircraft. Welcome from Canberra, the actual capital city of Australia, and to all of you Americans out there, the capital city of Australia is not Melbourne or Sydney, it is Canberra. Search it up. I only found this out on Google like 2 minutes ago, but anyway, as I just mentioned, we're flying from Canberra to Melbourne this afternoon on board a QantasLink Boeing 717 in economy class. Now, ignoring all the roundabouts, there is only one terminal at Canberra Airport, serving both international and domestic flights, and today we're only flying domestic, so that's what it, I guess. But anyway, this is the entrance to Canberra Airport, and once you're inside, it's very open and modern. Now, the Qantas and QantasLink check-in is pretty big. It's hard to miss, but I forgot to film it somehow, but oh well. Because I flew up to Canberra from Melbourne on this same exact day, the staff member at Melbourne already checked us in for the flight that we're about to take, so we can just go ahead and thankfully save 1 minute with checking in. However, if you are checking in at Canberra, there are these little kiosk machines here that will check you in. However, I'm pretty sure the kiosks do not print a physical boarding pass, but you can get a digital boarding pass through the Qantas app. But if you are scared that the kiosks will kill you, you can check in online 24 hours before your flight on the Qantas app and get it over and done with. Now, security here at Canberra is questionable, and luckily I did not almost lose my boarding pass here like I've done a couple of times with Bonza. But anyway, we're now airside at Canberra Airport, and yeah, it's got to be one of the nicest and most modern terminals in all of Australia. They've got sculptures everywhere and it just looks good. And this is because Canberra Airport had a major redevelopment in 2013, pretty much just demolishing the old piece of shit terminal and replacing it with a brand new one that is set to handle up to 8 million passengers per year. Now, last year in 2023, Canberra Airport tackled almost 3 million passengers, which is pretty much back up to pre-COVID standards. Now, one thing that I found crap about the airport was that the lining up and waiting for flights was just an absolute shit show. I mean, people were just everywhere, even spilling into the shops, and if I had to describe it in 2 words, that would be organised and chaos. But anyway, today we're boarding through Gate 9, and we've got a lovely view of this beautiful Qantas A220, which I actually flew on this very morning up to Canberra, and I'll have a flight review out for that one very soon. So if you would like to see my take on what the Qantas A220 is like, please make sure to be on the lookout for that video. Alright, now here is an aircraft arriving in from Melbourne. Registered as VH-NXQ, it is a 22-year-old QantasLink Boeing 717. This aircraft has had an interesting past, initially flying with American Airlines when it was first built in 2001, then 4 months later jumping over to Impulse Airlines in Australia, and then Qantas took ownership of it. 2 years later, it was painted in Jetstar colours and given to Jetstar for only 3 and a bit years, before finally resting at QantasLink in September of 2007, and has been with QantasLink ever since. As I mentioned earlier, we're boarding through Gate 9 today, in which boarding commenced a few minutes early at 4:26 p.m.
How are you?
Not bad, yourself?
Good, thank you.
That's good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
How are you? Thank you so much for
Thank you.
Very happy today.
Welcome aboard the QantasLink Boeing 717. This is business class with 12 seats in total, and here is economy class with 98 seats in a convenient 2-3 configuration, with my seat today being 20F, with great window alignment and a glorious view over the wing and engine. Now, I don't know the exact seat model because Qantas pretty much always customizes their seats, But for this one, I'm thinking that they're a custom model of the Recaro 3510A seats. Now, despite their age, the seats are very comfortable and have a nice seat back pattern design. There is a large adjustable headrest and the seat reclines somewhat well. Overall, the seats are wide and spacious, and legroom is pretty good at a solid 31 inches. There's a tray table, a little dirty though, but it's just a tray table, and the seat pocket contains your literature such as a safety card, air sickness bag which I'll review later, and an in-flight magazine which I'll also review later. There's a pretty cool seat pocket at the bottom of the seat, and that's about it. Overall, a solid product for a 22-year-old plane. One thing I found funny was how battered these seats were. There were passengers who were like putting their bags in the overhead lockers, and when they gently bumped the armrest of the aisle seat, the whole row of seats would just wobble. And when I was leaning back in my seat neighbour's seat would go forward, and yeah, it does show its age in many ways, but that's just the fun of it, I guess. Now, these mighty engines are the Rolls-Royce BR715 engines, and they make a brutal sound during takeoff, which you'll hear very soon.
Today is Hannah and Tennessee. Your captain is Rick Coleman and First Officer Adam Dennison. We would like to welcome back our Qantas and Oneworld frequent flyers, along with our Qantas Fitness Rewards members on this QantasLink flight to Melbourne. It's great to have you with us. Please place larger bags into the overhead lockers and smaller bags underneath the seat in front of you. If you are seated at a bulkhead or an exit row, all your cabin baggage needs to be stowed into the overhead lockers. It's now time to switch your phone and any other devices to flight mode. You're welcome to use your handheld devices during takeoff, but laptops and other large devices you can put away until we're in the air. Devices without flight mode cannot be used at any time. Please ensure handheld devices are not placed in the seatback holder until after takeoff, and please also remove all cables from the seatback charging ports. Make sure you're in your allocated seat with your seatbelt firmly fastened, your seatback upright, tray table is stowed, and window shade is up. As always, smoking, vaping, and the use of e-cigarettes is not permitted. Please help us to create a safe, respectful, and positive environment for everyone on board by respecting each other and our crew. Once again, welcome on board. It's great to have you with us.
Before we take off, please give us your full attention for an important safety briefing. Every aircraft is different, so it's important to pay attention even if you have flown with us before. Today you're flying on a QantasLink Boeing 717. Fasten your seatbelt by inserting the clasp into the buckle and tighten by pulling your forehead on the back of the seat in front. Hold your lower legs or put your hands on your knees. If you can't reach the seat in front, put your head on your knees or lean as far forward as you can and hold onto your lower legs. Keep your feet firmly on the floor. This aircraft has 7 emergency exits. We will operate in an emergency. If we do have to evacuate, you must leave all items carried onto the aircraft behind. A loss of oxygen at altitude may lead to a loss of consciousness. If emergency oxygen is required, a mask will drop from above you. Pull down on it firmly to activate the flow of oxygen. Put it on quickly and tighten the strap. Oxygen will flow without the bag inflating. Once you're breathing normally, it is okay to help others. Make sure you're familiar with the location and use of your life jacket. In economy, yours is under your seat. If you are in business, it is in the center console. Special life jackets are also available for babies and small children. Your crew member is now demonstrating how to put your life jacket on. Please help us to create a safe, respectful, and positive environment for everyone on board by respecting each other and our crew. Remember, the cabin crew are here for your safety. Please follow their instructions at all times. Thank you.
Hello again, and if oxygen is required, you must remove your face mask before putting on the oxygen mask that will drop down to above you. Thank you.
We're now taking off at 4:53 p.m, just 3 minutes after our scheduled departure time of 4:50 p.m. Now that we're in the air, let's take a quick peep at the in-flight magazine. This is Qantas's route network, and it is massive when you consider the other airlines that co-share with it. And yeah, out of the whole world, we're flying this 45-minute hop from Canberra to Melbourne. Exactly 15 minutes after takeoff, the cabin crew have now begun their meal service. On this flight, we were offered a complimentary snack, which was just a cheese and crackers. We also had a drink of choice, that being either water, orange juice, apple juice, lemonade, or wine. The cheese and crackers that I had on this flight were...
It actually looks a mess, but it tastes delicious.
the best that I've had in my whole life, and unlike many, these weren't dry and actually tasted good. A little small, but I'm not expecting much for a short 45-minute flight anyway.
I'd like to welcome aboard this QantasLink Boeing 717 service to Melbourne. We've just leveled off at our final cruising level of 24,000 feet today, where we are expecting generally smooth flying conditions. The captain has switched off the seatbelt sign and you are free to move about the cabin. However, we do recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened whenever you are seated, in the event we do experience unexpected turbulence. Currently estimating an arrival into Melbourne at 5:45 in the afternoon, with a short taxi back to the gate to have you disembarking at 5:50, which is around 10 minutes ahead of schedule. This is of course subject to air traffic control, and if there is a substantial change to its arrival time, I will provide you with the revised details.
into Melbourne today took us heading south out of Canberra and making a subtle right-hand turn to head southwest down to Melbourne. As the copilot announced, we're cruising at 24,000 feet, and eventually we made a textbook landing into Runway 16 at Melbourne with a beautiful sunset, which you'll see very soon. We racked up a total flight time of a very quick 51 minutes. Now, whilst we're here, I think now is a good time to go through the in-flight entertainment system available on all Qantas aircraft. It was pretty useless on this flight, but I'll show it anyway. Connecting to the Wi-Fi took about 20 seconds, and once you're on the app, there's plenty of movies to watch. There's TV shows, music, the news, and a kids section. Overall, a diverse system, and it works somewhat well. As we've started our ascent into Melbourne, I'll now lecture you about the Boeing 717, so bring out your notebooks as you'll have an exam in about 2 weeks' time. So yeah, pretty much the 717 technically originates all the way back from 1980 when the McDonnell Douglas MD-80 was first introduced. 9 years later, the MD-90 was introduced, and it was a quieter, more powerful and fuel-efficient variant of the MD-80, and it also featured a glass cockpit with electronic instrumentation. Sooner than later, the MD-95, which was a shorter but more powerful version of the MD-80 and 90, was introduced. In 1991, McDonnell Douglas revealed that it was going to make a specialised 100-seat version of the MD-80, initially named the MD-87-105. However, during the 1991 Paris Air Show, McDonnell Douglas publicised that it would be named the MD-95 instead, and the 95 reflected the year that deliveries would commence for that aircraft. Boeing then went on to acquire McDonnell Douglas in 1997, and after expectations of Boeing cancelling development of the MD-95, they simply renamed it to the Boeing 717, which brings us here today on board one of the last remaining QantasLink Boeing 717's VH-NXQ. As we're now about to land, I'll quickly sum up my experience aboard the QantasLink Boeing 717. So as an AvGeek, this flight was just awesome in every way possible, but in terms of service, it was also awesome in every way. I mean, we were on time, the crew were great, and yeah, it was just a comfortable ride down to Melbourne. In terms of pricing, I paid a total of 380 Australian dollars for round-trip flights to Canberra for the day. Expensive, yes, but I'm just grateful to be flying aboard a very special and legendary aircraft. I'll be reviewing the QantasLink Airbus A220 on May 4th, and that's also when you'll be sitting the exam for the 717. So if you'd like to see my take on what the Qantas A220 is like, stay awake until then. But as of now, I'll shut up and let you enjoy this gorgeous landing into Melbourne with a beautiful sunset and a beautiful aircraft that will be extinct from Qantas in 6 months from now.
custodians of the airport plan who are luxury people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to elders past and present. The local time is 5:45 p.m. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the seatbelt sign is switched off. Today we'll be exiting through the forward door, so please mind your step as you exit the aircraft. If you are leaving us here in Melbourne, your bags will be available in the baggage claim area, so please check the screen in the arrival hall. If you are continuing on to an international flight, please make your way to the upper level. For non-domestic flights, you'll need to collect your bags and make your way to the Jetstar check-in located in Terminal 4. Smoking, vaping and listening cigarettes is not permitted while disembarking or throughout the terminal. Please do take care when opening the overhead lockers, as baggage may have moved and could fall out. Before leaving, ensure you check your seat and seat pocket for any personal items. If you can reach your phone, you can turn off flight mode now. On behalf of us all here at QantasLink and OneWorld, thank you for choosing to fly with us. If you are visiting Melbourne, we hope you enjoy your stay, and of course those returning, welcome home.